A lot of people are paying a lot of money for high-powered, high-capacity power stations when they're really only wanting to charge their phones and run a fridge. Hey guys, I got this Honda Pilot 4-wheel drive that is new to me, and I'm looking to set it up for some car camping. My main use for 12-volt power in here would be this 12-volt fridge, and then obviously running like a little light bulb at night, and also charging phones and things like that. Power stations like this Jackery are obviously super easy to use. Just really simple. You can have all your 12-volt electrical needs and even some low power AC power available to you in a simple, easy package. This is only 296 watt hours. I would love to have a larger, more powerful power station that had a larger battery capacity and a larger inverter wattage limit, but I don't have the cash for that right now. So to upgrade something like this guy to a larger unit, that would work from the scenario in my mind. But for right now, I was just thinking, okay, how could I do the things I just described without having to break the bank? So I went to the garage and got some parts off my trailer, and I figured, hey, I can just kind of replicate what features are available on a power station. So of course, the first main component of a power station is a battery. So within a power station is some sort of battery cell. The next main component of a power station, of course, are the electrical connections. So here is a 1100 watt AC inverter with a couple USB ports. So you can see the similarity in the connections there. Of course, it doesn't have a 12-volt cigarette plug. Wish it did. That would be helpful, just to consolidate everything into one area. All right, and to make up for that missing piece is a 12-volt cigarette style connection that I can just attach to the battery posts. And then if I want to use more 12-volt cigarette style outputs or more USB ports, I can just plug these in together there, and then I could run the fridge and any other 12-volt accessories I wanted off of that one output. And then of course the other component on these power stations is a 12-volt input for charging. So the easiest way to do that with this type of component setup would be 12-volt solar charge controller. All right, so all these components you see, obviously it looks like a little bit messy with all the wires, but this would replace a much more expensive power station. Of course, the big reason why people love power stations is they're so user-friendly. All of these components here are found within the housing of a power station, right? Plus, power stations have a super easy way to charge off of a vehicle's standard 12-volt connection, so you don't necessarily need solar if you're going to do a bit of driving. All right, now I have everything hooked up, and the fridge is now connected to this 12-volt cigarette lighter. See, it's running 19 degrees there, and power station can be turned off. We replaced you with a much larger, more capable setup. So this guy is 1100 watts, and this is 1280 watt hour capacity. That's 100 amp hours at 12.8 volts. So one day I would like to have a very high power, large capacity power station for these day trips or even weekender trips. But for now, this setup will get me through multiple days camping, even without solar needing to recharge. Here is the fridge charging, and then I can use AC power and have a couple USBs on that inverter. The only reason I would take an inverter personally is for using my 120 volt water kettle. So that's how I heat my water for coffee, hot chocolate for the kids. But if I wasn't planning to do that, I would just remove this. Literally all I would need is this one connection, because that's what's connecting the fridge, and or this multi-port that would give me multiple 12-volt connections. So that's another aspect to consider. A lot of people are paying a lot of money for high-powered, high-capacity power stations when they're really only wanting to charge their phones and run a fridge, and that's overkill. Inverter is only necessary if you're going to use something that uses a standard 120-volt household plug like this. So consider your actual need for an AC inverter. That might just be overkill, and when you're buying a power station, a lot of that money is going towards a decently powered AC inverter. Alright, so now I want to show you a cleaner and more permanently mounted version of the same thing. This is my dad and his 2001 Montero Sport that he's taken all over the US. Alright, so this is the back of his Montero Sport, and he lays these seats down, takes out his front seat, and that's his sleeping area. And here is his 12 volt setup. So of course we have a 50 amp hour lithium battery here, and we have a 1500 watt pure sine wave inverter there. And then here is a Renogy DC to DC 30 amp charge controller. The rad thing about this particular unit is that it will take an input both from solar and from the vehicle's alternator and safely charge the battery, even though it's lithium. All in all, that's an option as well if you have a little room in your vehicle. I don't, because I actually use all 8 seats in my Pilot. But my dad does not have that issue because this is only a 5-seater anyway, so this whole back area is just cargo. So that's basically the same setup I just showed you, but in a permanent configuration. Here he has a connection for his solar panel, and this thing will charge while it's driving, or when we're parked, he throws a solar panel on the roof and he's good to go for long periods of time. Alright, so whether you're going to use a power station or a non-permanent setup of components like this, or do a permanent mount like my dad's, a lot of different options. That's always the best thing, and I hope this helped somebody out there to know, like, oh hey, this is actually pretty simple, I could just do it myself, save a bunch of money, or say, hey, you know what, I don't want to deal with all of that, I'm just going to get a power station and I have the budget for it, so I'm going to go the easy route, which I don't blame you at all if you have that. So alright, hope that helps, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions that I can answer. Have a good one.